It's time to start your life the way it is meant to be. There's only one time when it will be too late, and you don't want to wait for that. This is Now or Never. The choice is yours. Your host is Karen Wright. Today, you're about to meet some amazing people. The stories are not always happy ones, but they define a healing process. Listen with an open mind and an open heart. Now, here is Karen Wright.
Welcome, listeners. I appreciate you joining us today on our show and making the choice and doing it now and being in the present. Today's show is about taking control of your life and your happiness. You are the king or queen of your jungle. Do you believe that? Do you give yourself permission to take control in your life? Listen in as I speak with our guests today, Kamille Bauer and Alison Kero. Kamille will share about her journey toward happiness, and Alison will talk about how organizing helps people take their lives back. You guys are in for a treat today. So I want to do a shout out and welcome my guests, Kamille and Alison. How are you both doing today?
Great. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm excited to have you both on. This is a treat. And each week I think, oh my gosh, my guest, that was, the best. And then it's like, it just gets better and better every time. My guest, nothing about my old guests, because I love them. Not old, my past guests. They're amazing and wonderful people, and I want them back. But it's just crazy how the energy just starts going and flowing throughout how the radio shows have progressed in the last 14, 15 weeks. Has been crazy. So I appreciate you guys taking the time being here. And before we start, as my listeners know, I like to get grounded. And so I invite my guests to join in with me, and we'll do a little breathing segment. So if you just close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And another deep breath in and out through your mouth. Now I'd like you to wrap your hands up around your shoulder, like you're giving yourself a big hug. Taking another deep breath in and releasing. Allowing that breath of air, that breath of life to enter every cell, every part of your body. I invite you to repeat 3 times out loud or to yourself. I am worthy of my love. I am worthy
of my
love. I am worthy of my love. Take another deep breath in and releasing. And then taking your finger and tapping 3 times on your chest, repeating the word accept 3 times. Accept, accept, accept. Take another deep breath in and release. So listeners, I want you to feel where you're at this moment, leaning in with your heart, leaning in with us as we begin this interviews, as we begin to share our wisdom, our stories, our knowledge. Lean in with us and feel what we have together, the 3 of us. We're sending everything out, all the energy of love and light to our listeners today. At the beginning of each show, I do an affirmation, and my guests, I kind of put you on the spot. So I do not look at the affirmation until I read it to you. When I read the affirmation, I invite both of you to share what came to your thought. How do you feel with the affirmation? And if you would share this with the listeners, I would appreciate it. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So the affirmation is, joy is abundant all around me. Joy is abundant all around me.
Love that.
That's awesome, huh? Kamille, do you want to start?
I loved hearing that. It's my motto. It's what I live by. I think if, every day it's there, even on bad days, you can find joy and happiness if if you recognize it and choose to see it.
I appreciate that. You have to choose to see it because, like you said, it is around us every day. I appreciate you sharing with us. Alison, what came to your mind?
For me, yeah, I mean, joy is everywhere. Unfortunately, what I think a lot of people do is they build up a lot of physical or emotional clutter. And it's sometimes hard for them to see that. But when they start digging through their stuff or their life or whatever, it's really easy to find that clutter. They just need to do a little bit of work to start finding it and looking for it and keeping it where it's always accessible to them.
You're right. Sometimes you have to look for it, and we get a lot of stuff in our way. Sometimes we just got to dig ourselves out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always there, but we sometimes just get so boggled down. You can read the news and the joy goes away, and so you have to go searching back for that joyful feeling and that joy that is in your life, even when everything looks like it's going the opposite direction.
Well, and there's a lot going on right now with that. With it seems like everything is seriously on not just fast speed, but like crazy speed with everything happening in this world right now. And I'm to the point where seriously, in the last 3 years, I haven't watched the news. I have my kids told me about COVID 3 weeks into it. Hey, Mom, by the way, did you hear about COVID? I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm in my own little space, in my own little home, doing my stuff. I work from home, so and I've learned sometimes that you have to step away from everything that is out here, things that you can't control. And the thing that we can control is our joy and the abundance that we have around us. Yes. And being able to send that energy out into the world instead of that negative stuff that we hear all the time, but sending the good, the positive out there. And both of you are very good at doing this. And so listeners, we are in for a sweet treat today. Here we go. I want to introduce first of all, Kamille Bauer to the show. I'm going to read a little bit about her and the wonderful, beautiful person that she is. Kamille Bauer is a vibrant happiness advocate and grief recovery expert. As a cancer widow, mother of 3, and a serial entrepreneur and businesswoman, her positive and perspective on life through adversity has influenced tens of thousands around the world. Through her weekly podcast, Put On Your Big Girl Pants, and her YouTube channel, she's helped others that are discouraged and lonely know they are not alone. Kamille is a passionate advocate for happiness in life and in relationships, and loves to help others realize they are in control of their happiness, no matter what chaos is erupting in their lives. So Kamille, thank you for taking the time and being with us today.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm always grateful to share.
Tell me a little bit about you're a cancer widow, mother of 3. I know we all have our stories, and I would love you just for a moment to share about the hardship that you went through and how you went through it and you came above it.
Yeah, you bet. So I was living the American dream. My baby, my 3rd, had just turned 8 months old. And we were hit with the news of chondrosarcoma, bone cancer, my husband. And, gravity was gone. If anybody's experienced a medical diagnosis unexpectedly, you know what I mean. I mean, it's just your whole life is turned upside down. And, I had small businesses. My husband, I thought what made me happy would be a bigger garage. Like that was my happiness. Like I couldn't be happy until I had a garage. And then it all of a sudden shifted to, okay, I can be happy when cancer's gone at our next 3-month scan. And it became every 3 months, this emotional, roller coaster of depression and anxiety. And, I found myself 1.5 years after, I was eating my feelings. I was miserable and I wasn't able to show up in a way that I wanted for my kids and my husband. And I had this light bulb moment where it was just like, you know what, if I wait to be happy when cancer is gone, I might never be happy, Mm-hmm. And in that realization, it was almost just like my creator gave me a slap in the face and was just like, girl, you are wasting the time that you have with him right now. And it really shifted my perspective, where I looked for the opportunity to be grateful that he was alive. And even though our life wasn't perfect and I didn't have this clean scans, it became, we can be happy with cancer. We're not going to wait. Don't put off your happiness. And as I've worked with people throughout the years, that seems to be a common denominator. Is it's like, oh yeah. No, I'm chasing happiness. When I get this thing, when I get this promotion, when, for us, when this disease is gone, and I quickly learned my quality of life could not maintain itself. And I would have, who knows what my health would have looked like if I continued to eat my shake and onion rings, to drown my sorrows. And, I've learning that gratitude creates happiness. Every day I would look to see what I was grateful for. And, being in working, taking him to doctor's appointments, sitting in the offices, getting to know people and connect with people, just finding those ways to find humanity was a big thing for us. And, everybody's searching for happiness. And it was a beautiful experience, bittersweet. He passed away in 2015. And it was, as anybody could imagine, horrific. But I look back at those moments and I'm so grateful that, I was able to get that aha moment and just realize, like, hey, you better pull yourself together and realize happiness is here if you choose it. And, that's
I think I appreciate you sharing, because those are tender feelings that I feel. And I can relate because of the loss of my daughter. I lost my daughter at 18, and it was tragic. And so when you say, you kind of had your God, your creator, slap you around the face going, hey, Kamille, look at what's happening right now. Find the joy, find this, that you get this time with your husband and with your 3 beautiful children. And sometimes it's hard to step out of it, to get out of that funk, to get out of that gunk. And I know I had certain things that I did that helped me. And Kamille, could you share, do you have like a couple of things for our listeners? Because I know people listening to this are going through and experiencing tragic and loss, or things that they've been stuck in. What was something that stuck out to you that you maybe did every day? Besides, I know you said you picked out something you were grateful for. Every day you woke up, I'm grateful for, today, I'm grateful for my home, for my 8-month-old baby, Was there other things besides the gratitude that you found that you did that was very important for you?
Yes. Like I said earlier, I was eating my feelings and was experiencing, especially as a woman, in the standards that we hold ourselves to, and let alone the world does. I knew that I had to change my diet. I had to change moving, and for me, it was so powerful to be able to move my body and work out. And
it's taking that physical.
Yes. And for me, that was what helped combat my depression. It helped me have the control to not want to go and drown, my sorrows in sugar. And it gave me that control feeling in my life. And I definitely, that was my saving grace. And I went to my husband, I get it when we moms drop in our bed at night, or anybody listening, you're like, how can I squeeze that in? I can't. Well, you're right. Like, you can or can't, you're right. Like, and I had to come, with my husband and go, hey, I need to, this is what I need to do for my mental health. And he was totally on board, yeah, my biggest cheerleader. And, I had people that were judgmental, like, why is she leaving to go to the gym when, her husband's sick? And, I got a lot of judgment from certain even family members. And it was just like, you have to just drown it out and know in your core what you feel is good for you and your family. And your little tribe. And that's what I did. And for me, partnered, coupled with the gratitude mindset, it was physical activity. And that doesn't mean you need to go kill it at a boot camp class. I mean, no. I could say I did smack cancer's face every week. It felt really good. But if all you can do is get out of your house and go for a walk, that's so good. I mean, there's so many ways you can adapt that for you. But for me, that was so powerful. And it, like I said, anxiety, depression, it completely helped turn my life around. Physical activity.
Physical activity to me is very important. I mean, if I'm not working out or up in the trails at least every day, I start feeling like, feel the same thing. And for me, it was the mental clarity, being able to think through things. And that's my time I go and I talk to God and talk to myself and just try to figure out, you know, when one mouth is talking, two ears are listening. I learn a lot. I'm listening to myself going, oh my gosh, I already knew this. Here we go. I love the fact that, Kamille, you took the opportunity and that your husband and family were supportive, your kids and your husband, very supportive. And I think that's very, very important. Listeners, as we go into our first break, I invite you to stay tuned because we will be back. I'm going to introduce Alison Kero to you. And then we're going to learn more about Alison. And after the second break, we're coming back to both of us. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this commercial.
All right, nicely done. We're all clear. Back in a couple.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kamille.
You're welcome.
I love your story. So 2015, he passed away.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. It was 2 days before his 35th birthday.
Oh.
So
that's so young.
Yeah, way so too young. Way young.
Yeah. And so I know like prior to that, you were doing your own business type thing too, right? So
I had retail stores.
Okay.
And I really just took to social media as a kind of a way to get out his diagnosis information. And then after, you know, it was a 4-year battle. So after about a year, people were like, hey, what are you doing to stay so positive? And so that's when we were like, you know, you don't go with religion or politics, you know, in my business. You did not go there. But It was just like, hey, people want to know. I'm sharing. So that's how my YouTube channel started.
I love that. And what's your YouTube channel? Is it put on your big girl pants also?
It's my name, Kamille Bauer.
Okay, Kamille Bauer. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
I'm very happy and proud of you, and my heart goes for you, you know. But you're strong, and I love that about my guests. How strong you go through trials, and sometimes you're in the middle of it, going, "How do we do this? How are we going to figure this out?" And things happen.
Yep. Yeah. I believe if you know, one step at a time. You don't have to do it all at once.
No.
You can't do it all at once.
No, you can't. Sometimes
and that's where overwhelm starts.
Yes.
You know, that's where a lot of people break down, but it's like, hey, baby steps.
Yeah, exactly. One step at a time. What's your biggest priority? And then do that, and then do the next, and then do the next. Not always easy though.
No, it's not. Sometimes it was just me getting out of bed and making bed.
Yeah.
And then going, okay, now I need a shower. It's been a week.
Yeah,
all right, we are coming back here in just about 10 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
You are listening to Now or Never. The choice is yours. To connect with the program today, please call us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is Karen@shinenowornever.com. Let's get back to this week's show. Here again is Karen Wright.
Listeners, thank you for staying with us and tuning back in with us. We've had a treat listening to Kamille and her life story of her helping her husband through through the cancer series. And He sadly passed in 2015, but she has learned and grown from this and the powerhouse that she is today. And I believe he's with you every second of the day, guiding you and directing you at all times. So the beauty of
believe that.
Yeah, I do too. I really do. Listeners, I invite you to go on my website to shinenowornever.com and sign up and receive my free gift today I have for my listeners. And then email me and let me know what you think about the gift. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to go do it. It's a surprise and you're going to love it. As we continue on, I want to introduce Alison Kero. She began her career as a professional organizer in 2004 in New York City when she formed her first business called Gotham Concierge. Well, she sort of fell into being an organizer. She soon realized the skills were easily transferable. She could use those same skills to create simple systems that helped her in everyday life. Alison also realized she wanted to share those tips with everyone. Since then, while she has changed business and her address a few times, her commitment to her clients has never wavered. Whether it's been on podcasts, her blog, or as a direct client, Alison continues sharing simple tips that help her clients love their space and their lives. In 2021, in response to the pandemic and the feeling that she wasn't able to reach those who needed her the most, Alison began creating how to get organized videos. Her step-by-step process helps people learn skills to help them manage their time and space more easily. Alison, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. I'm excited to be here and just, share my story. And I resonated so much with Kamille's story because for me, I was the one who got sick. And I was really lucky in that I didn't get an illness that could lead to death. I got Lyme disease, but I didn't know I had Lyme disease for years because I could not find medical health professionals who could help me. It felt like everything collapsed all at once. Like literally family members were coming at me, strangers were coming at me, clients were coming at me, and everything just started to crumble. And I had absolutely no support system. And I had no idea why I couldn't get out of bed, why I couldn't stay awake, why I felt stupid because I had such bad brain fog, why I couldn't eat because my digestive system was so horrible. And so what I did was I used my skills as an organizer and I created a system to eliminate clutter, to help me set goals and reach them, to set boundaries for myself so that I could get to those goals, so that I became more aware of what I was surrounding myself with and who I was surrounding myself with, so that I could make space for myself, so I could hear my intuition, and so that I could use all of this to start making smarter decisions so that my life started going in an upward way rather than a downward way. So yeah, and it took about 6 years before I finally found the right doctor who knew what I had and knew how to treat me. And of course, 6 weeks after that happened and I finally had my health back, the pandemic happened. So I was inside for 6 years and then I had to tack another one on. So, but this, every time it's so easy for us to just clutter our own lives up by telling ourselves, oh, we should get out of bed or we should do this and, should. And when I start doing that, I thankfully can rely on this system to start decluttering my own stuff that is coming into my head and just do whatever that next priority is. And sometimes that next priority is just take a day and take care of myself because I'm important and I'm worth it.
No, and I appreciate your advice there. So you have this system of decluttering. And when you say declutter, I get it's both like your home, decluttering your home, but also inside your mental, your what's going up here in your brain, all that.
Yeah.
So if we could just do a quick step process if someone is suffering with depression or anxiety, what is there like a 5 steps for them to do, or can you share?
Well, basically, because I had horrible anxiety and depression for years because I couldn't get well again and everything just sort of seemed to be crumbling. And so when I sort of start feeling like that, what I like to do is, I remember what my goal is. And my goal is to lead a happy, healthy life. And so what I start doing is I start putting in I start becoming aware of what is happening in my life, whether is there tangible stuff that is getting on my nerves, like maybe some clutter has built up and maybe I have to handle that because that can cause anxiety and depression itself. Or is there stuff going on externally that's happening, or am I working with people or dealing with people who are causing some of that clutter to build up, or is it just going on in my head? What is the cause? And then I start setting up boundaries so that I don't allow in so much clutter. So like when I first moved here, I was really tired and I just hired the first painter that I could find. And he just started taking advantage of me and more and more and more. And then when I finally spoke up, he started just launching a tirade of here's why it's your fault, blah, 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 blah. And in the past, I might have gone, oh my God, I'm such a horrible person. I can't believe what I've done. And in this case, I use that system of awareness. Okay, somebody's coming at me because I asked for what I felt I needed. And it doesn't feel good to me. And that's part of the awareness. How does that feel, right? If it feels good, it's probably a good thing. If it doesn't, then you got to do something about it. And then I set up boundaries to help me get the goal of people who are in my life are supporting me 100%. And so I just basically made a decision using my intuition of we've gone as far as we can go. We're at an impasse now. I don't appreciate being spoken to like this. The work is not going to get better. We need to separate. And so I did, and I walked away and then hired somebody else to finish the job, and it worked out better. Or, if on those days where I just still struggle sometimes with lack of energy, it's, what is my goal? To be happy and healthy. So I set up the boundaries, and a lot of it has to do with what's the food I'm putting into myself today, and I try to eat as healthy as I possibly can every single day. That's something that I think all people with Lyme disease should be doing. Well, everyone should be. And I just kind of am aware of what is going on in my life, what is happening. Maybe there's things internally that is making me feel tired and exhausted, and what decisions can I make to ensure that tomorrow or even in the afternoon, my energy goes up and I can accomplish things.
And I think it's really important too. Like Kamille has said earlier about eating. She was eating her, her misery, her words and stuff. And where she finally is like, I can't do this. I need to eat healthy, take control back, and I can do this physical myself. I can take that part back in my life. And just like you said, eating with Lyme disease and things like that. I have a friend with it, and it's constant battle. He feels better when he works out and he eats healthy, and we all do. I mean, I didn't find that out. I can be a junk food junkie, but then when I'm like going, oh, why is my cholesterol high?
Yeah. And why do I feel so angry? I mean, when I started eating more fruits and vegetables, I felt more resilient almost within a week. And I felt happier because that's the food that your body needs. The rest of it is just taking away. And I literally consider anything that is not for my best and highest good and doesn't make my life better clutter. Because when I call it clutter, it's easier for me to get rid of it, right? There's less of that emotional, like, oh, am I hurting someone's feelings? Or, oh, I really want that candy bar or whatever. If I think of it as clutter, it's really a lot easier for me to be more dispassionate about it, get the emotion off of it, and for me to make the right decision.
So we're talking about being aware, being able to set boundaries that are reasonable for ourselves, whatever those boundaries are, getting rid of the clutter, people that might be taking us down, people that might be attacking us, like abusive type stuff, and being able to dismiss them, cut them off. I'm always about cutting cords.
Yeah.
I cut cords every day.
You have to. I mean, because you're a product of your environment. If you're surrounding yourself with people, places, things, food, ideas that are not for your best and highest good, that are not making you feel healthy and happy, they're going to start taking you down. And if you ignore it, I think it starts on a spiritual level. If you stop focusing on your spirituality, however that is, and taking care of yourself, it's going to start showing up in either as tangible clutter or as a physical clutter.
Yes. And sometimes the spiritual, we kind of put that on the back burner, where in my life, I found out that the spiritual side, my connection to my angels, my God, whatever, like that's me. That is my connection. And they get me, right? I read this book and it said something, if you saw God the way he sees you, you would smile a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
And I thought, oh my gosh. And at the end of the day, really, that's all that matters, right? Is how you feel and how the higher supreme God, creator, whatever you believe in, sees you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think we get so caught up in the world and everything that's going on around us that we need to go inside. And I think with COVID, that's helped so many people. They've learned to go inward, to find themselves, to be realigned again to what is really important. And so, Alison, let's say I have a big project coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to launch this huge TV show. I am feeling kind of stuck. Do you have any tips you could help me with on how?
How to, like, you're not sure what direction to go in?
Yeah, let's say I'm not sure, I really want to do, I'm not quite sure the name of the show. I'm not really doing this. I'm just making this up. But maybe after we talk about this, I might do it. You might have some good ideas for me.
I find when I'm kind of stuck on stuff, one of the things is I kind of walk away from it for a little bit because you got too much stuff coming at you and you're starting to accumulate the mental clutter. I got to do this. I can't do this. How do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then it feels like almost like an energetic pile of junk on the floor. And then you feel overwhelmed. You feel anxious and you feel maybe depressed and you just want to walk away from it. I mean, most people don't want to tackle that big pile. So a lot of times I just say, walk away, get some exercise, take some time away from it. The thing is, good things show up when you allow space to let it in. So if you have a lot of tangible stuff in your house, you can't bring in new stuff because there's no space for it. And the same thing goes for ideas and all that other stuff. If you don't allow the space for it, it's really hard for it to come in. And then I would say probably just start brainstorming, write down stuff, see what it is, and then look at it and then just eliminate the clutter and see what else is left. What is it that excites you about that list of things? What's on there that really kind of makes you excited versus going blah, and it's mostly about your emotions. They'll tell you whether it's right or wrong. I mean, I've heard, that which is a lie will make you feel heavy and that which is your truth will always make you feel lighter. And I kind of always go with that. So if you see an idea or have an idea and you're like, woo, that's probably a good way to go. And if you're like, then, probably not. But yeah, you have to create space first for the ideas to even be able to show up.
That's great information, creating space, because to me, that's very true. Even my workspace, things like that. It's like I have to clean out and before I can do certain things. Even like cooking, I have to make sure my kitchen's clean before I prepare a meal. I know how silly that sounds, but that's kind of like what I've always done. I have to clean the next mess so I can eat and enjoy it, type of thing.
And not have an even bigger mess to have to clean up afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, don't want to do it. It sits in the kitchen till tomorrow.
And then you're not going to want to cook either. So it's really hard if you keep letting that